It's the thought of PM when your heart's just like a drum, beating louder with nowhere to guard it.
When it all seems like it's wrong, sing along to Elton John and to that feeling we're just getting started.
When the nights get colder and the rhythm's got you falling behind,
Just dream about that moment when you look yourself right in the eye, then you say, I wanna dance. The music's got me going and nothing that can stop how we move. Yeah, let's make our plans and live just like we're golden and rolling like we're dancing fools.
we don't need to worry, 'cause when we fall we know how to land.
Don't need to talk the talk, just walk the walk tonight. 'Cause we don't need permission to dance. There's always something that's standing in the way, but if you don't let it phase you, you know just how to break. Just with the right vibe, yeah. 'Cause there's no looking back. There ain't no one to prove we don't got this on lock. Yeah, the wait is over, the time is not, so let's do it right. Yeah, we keep going and stay up until we see the sunrise. And we say, I wanna dance. The music's got me going and nothing that can stop how we move. Yeah, let's break our plans and leave just like we're golden and rolling like we're dancing fools. We don't need to worry, 'cause when we fall we know how to land. Don't need to talk the talk, just walk the walk tonight. 'Cause we don't need permission to dance. Da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. We don't need permission to dance. Da-da-da-da-da-da, hey. Da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Well, let me show you that we can keep the fire alive.
'Cause it's not over till the summer. Say one more time. Say, I wanna dance. The music's got me going. Nothing that can stop how we move. Yeah, let's break our plans and live just like we're golden and rolling like we're dancing fools. Like we're dancing fools. We don't need to worry, 'cause when we fall we know how to land. Don't talk the talk, just walk the walk tonight. 'Cause we don't need permission to dance. Da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. We don't need permission to dance. Da-da-da-da-da-da, hey. Da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da.
'Cause we don't need permission to dance.
Da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. We don't need permission to dance. Da-da-da-da-da-da, hey. Da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. 'Cause we don't need permission to dance. Every time you come around, you know I can't say no. Every time the sun goes down, I let you take control. I can feel the paradise before my world implodes. And tonight had something wonderful. My bad habits lead to late nights, sitting alone, conversations with a stranger I barely know, swearing this'll be the last, but it probably won't. I got nothing left to lose, conversations with a stranger I barely know. Swearing this will be the last, but it probably won't. I got nothing left to lose or use, or do my bad habits lead to white eyes staring into space? And I know I lose control of the things that I say. Yeah, I was looking for a way out, now I can't escape. Nothing happens after two. It's true, my bad habits lead to you. My bad habits lead to you. My bad habits lead to you.
Good morning, Premier Sotheby's International Realty. I'm Christine Newell, and I'm so happy that you're joining me today for Ninja Download, where we explore different topics and help you with key takeaways so that you too can be a ninja. Today's topic, it's something that you must do repeatedly to ensure success. What is it? Habits. There's a quote, "You are what you do." Habits basically determine our future. Sounds pretty easy, doesn't it? In fact, it's not, right? We all know that having habits, creating habits, maintaining habits, it is a constant struggle for many of us. Today, we will be speaking with Larry Kendall, author and creator of Ninja Selling. He's going to teach us the key habits that you need to do daily to ensure a higher income per hour while having a life. And really, when we look at Ninja Selling, the Ninja 9 are the key habits that we need to implement both weekly and daily to ensure success. So we're going to dive into those with Larry, as well as learn perhaps a few other interesting tidbits. We also will be speaking with Judy Berger. She's an agent with Premier Sotheby's International Realty. Judy's on track to do over 100 million this year. But what I admire about her most is her discipline and commitment to the habits that have brought her great success. So we will learn from Judy exactly what she's doing and how she is doing it. I can't wait to share that with you. So before we dive into habits, I want to take a moment and talk about the power of a ninja installation. This is the time to recenter, to recharge, and really think about where you want to go. And I can't think of a better, more immersive place than a Ninja Selling installation. We have them coming up right here in Florida in September. So I just wanted to remind you that you need to sign up by September 1st if you want to attend these 3 installations. If you can't make them, there will be more installations down the road, but don't let this opportunity sneak by you. I thought it would also be fun to check in with Judy and Larry to understand from them, why do they think you should attend an installation in September? So let's kind of hear what they have to say right now. What do you think, Judy and Larry? Can you guys chime in on why a Ninja installation is so important right now?
It's the re-energizing. I mean, you are so fired up when you're in Ninja every day and you're with people that are fired up, and the relationships that you make. You know, it's like when anything you do with other realtors, it's just one other layer of another relationship that you have with realtors that maybe you didn't know very well.
If they're working all the time, you're paying a price for that physically, with your relationships. You know, we want you to be sustainable. And our goal is to, and we have a system that will help you do that. We have top producing ninjas that have a life again. As one of our instructors, Bob Sutton, says, my mission is to rescue people from the industry. The industry can be addictive. You can find yourself working all the time and burning out. And so I think the benefit of ninja selling is that we'll show you a way that you can have very high production, very high performance, and at the same time have a life.
If they want to be a realtor, and if they want to be a Sotheby's realtor, and they want to be a successful Sotheby's realtor, the only thing you should do is take the ninja course. I mean, it's like the Nike thing, just do it.
So let's take a deep dive into habits. There is an amazing book by James Clear called Atomic Habits that I highly recommend. I'm going to focus on just a few takeaways from this book. There's an amazing quote: your outcomes are a lagging measure of your habits. Your net worth is a lagging measure of your financial habits. Your weight is a lagging measure of your eating habits. Your knowledge is a lagging measure of your learning habits. Your clutter is a lagging measure of your cleaning habits. You get what you repeat. Thanks, by the way, for the reminder on the weight. I really needed that this morning. But seriously, your real estate income is a reflection of your habits, right? And are you doing all of the ninja habits? Are you doing the Ninja 9, the weekly habits and the daily habits? If you're doing them, we know consistently, you will earn a higher income per hour. So we're going to dive deep into some of that today. Also, though, James Clear, he talks a lot about making tiny 1% increments every single day so that in a year you'll have a good amount of progress. And it's very important to focus not so much on the goals all the time, but on those daily habits. And he says that if you do better each day, it's actually considered an aggregation of marginal gains. Now, this is used in business and science. And again, just every day doing one thing a little bit better, just 1% better every day in real estate, you can see a big gain at the end of the year. So ninja selling is built around a system of great habits, actions you can take on a daily basis to achieve your goals. So Judy, let's talk a little bit about, if you can just remind us, what office you're out of, the amount of business that you've done year to date, and then let's talk a little bit about your morning routine.
I'm Judy Berger with Premier Sotheby's Realty, downtown Sarasota Plaza office. I've been with Sotheby's in Sarasota since a little after its inception, since 2007. Well, in production, this last year has just been pretty phenomenal. In March, I equaled my numbers from 2020, which were my best ever. And I thought 2020 was great, and because it was better than 2019. 2019, we did about 71 million. In 2020, we did 72 million closed, and those are closed numbers. This year, we did those closed numbers by March. So right now, I am with closed and pending. We're at about 114 million so far. My days, pretty much 7 days a week, are the same. I usually wake up before my alarm goes off. So the first thing I would do is figure out if I check the weather, see if I can go for a walk on the beach. I usually, a couple of times a week, I try to do 4 times a week, 3 or 4 times a week. I live across from Siesta Beach. So I do about a 4 to 5 mile walk in the morning. And then I plan the night before. I always plan my day for the next day the night before. I always make sure anything I didn't get finished that day gets moved to the next day's calendar. Anything that I need to do first thing in the morning, I make sure I have exclamation points in my Outlook calendar. So I chip away at those. Of course, I do my gratitudes. I always did gratitude, so it's kind of second nature. I do those as waking up and going through the day, how grateful I am for whether it's my family or my friends or my health or my clients and my success or whatever. But, that's just part of me. So that's, even though I have it in every day's calendar, I have the word gratitude in every single day's calendar. And I also have write notes in every single day's calendar. And I've been writing notes. I used to train with Brian Buffini back since I started in real estate in 1999. So I've always written notes. That was kind of just ingrained in us. When I get busy, I always have a stack of notes sitting on my desk. I can't say that I always get them done, but I also count birthday cards as notes, and just thank you notes for people. But I'm not as diligent when I'm busy as I should be. But I've always got the stack of them there with a list of people that I want to write the notes to. So it's always there in front of me if I have a few minutes to breathe, even if it's one note, even if it's one. I've stopped beating myself up that I don't get the 3 to 5 notes out a day that I used to, because my business has gotten so much bigger over the years. So 10 years ago, that was a lot easier to do. So and I feel that even though they're not personal notes, I do keep in touch with everyone. I make it a point, instead of times, I make it a point every single client's birthday, I actually pick up the phone and call them. And they're actually shocked that I remember every year. So that's something that, and I'm really upset if I happen to be super busy and it's in my calendar and I miss it. It doesn't matter if I realize it. Last night, I realized one of my really great clients all day long. I mean, I do this with my family's birthdays too. All day long, I think I got to call them. I've got to call them. I've got to, get in touch with them. It's their birthday today. Sometimes my day just stretches so long and I don't end up looking at that part of my Outlook calendar again until it's 10 o'clock at night. Last night, I realized I all day didn't call this client. So I texted him. And within 10 seconds, he texted me back and said, "Thanks for thinking of me." So the moral of that story is, if you can't pick up the phone, text them or email them. It's never too late, really. And it's never even too late the next day to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I was with clients all day yesterday. I was thinking of you all day. Just wanted to find out how your birthday was." And it's just a nice touch. It's part of, that's kind of to me, a ninja thing without saying a ninja thing. It's about the people.
So Larry, let me ask you a question. If I am newer to Ninja and I'm not doing all of the Ninja 9, what should I really be focused on right now? Like, which of them are the best daily habits that I should start with?
Christine, a couple of responses to that. I interviewed on a panel 4 top producing ninjas from 4 different parts of the country a couple of years ago, and I asked them when they'd all been through the 4-day ninja installation. I asked them what was the thing that had helped them the most. And what was interesting was they said it was the Ninja 5, the 5 daily habits. So there's not 9 habits, 5 are daily habits, 4 are weekly habits. Quickly, the 5 daily habits are to start your day with your gratitudes and your affirmations. That's habit number 1. Habit number 2 is to time block your day and your week. Habit number 3 is to write 2 personal notes. Habit number 4 is to review your hot list. And habit number 5 is to review your warm list. They said that was the most important thing for them because it started them off right for their day. That if they started their day right, they had a great day. If they did the Ninja 5 every morning, their great days would string together and they'd have great weeks and great months and great years. So that was out of that panel. That was what they said. Now, when I've interviewed ninjas and I say, okay, if we took away all of the 9 and you could only have one, what would be the one that would be the most important? And for years, it was always habit number 8, which is 50 live interviews a week. Being in flow with 50 people per week live. I interviewed one of our top producers. His name is Bud Raisy. And I started going through the Ninja 9 with him, and it was pretty clear he was hit or miss. I mean, he was doing some of the things, but he wasn't doing them all. I mean, but here he is, he's a top producer. And we got to habit number 8, and I said, "Bud, how many people do you talk to a day?" And he says, "Well, I always check my phone at the end of the day." And he says, I average 75 to 100 people a day. now habit number 8 says 50 a week, and he's doing 75 to 100 a day. So that he doesn't need any of the pretty much anything else. If he's doing that, that's what's driving his business.
Thanks for that, Larry. Judy, can you finish taking us through your morning habits and kind of your daily routine?
So what else do I do? Then I get on it. I start making phone calls. I always keep a stack next to me of the things that have to be done, that are screaming that have to be done. I keep a notepad. I am a Post-it note queen, every size, every color. So I have to make sure that if I'm on the phone with somebody else and I've got a little Post-it note and I stick it on the tablet, I go through and I always check and recheck my notes, because I have different tablets for different things. But write it down. I learned a long time ago that if it's not written down, it doesn't exist. So those fleeting thoughts while you're having a conversation with someone else, it might be a really important thing. It's kind of like a trigger that if it's not written down, you know, as much as you think you might remember, you're not going to remember when you have, the more you have on your mind.
So Judy, what is your system for obtaining the birthdays and remembering them? It's such an awesome habit. I love it. It's such a great touch point with clients, and it really helps you keep on track to stay in touch with them. Can you walk us through the system that you've set up to ensure the success of this powerful habit?
Are you asking how I get them, or where do I put them?
I guess both. Like, how, you know, what's the system that, obviously you have a system, right, to get the birthdays? Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
And they always forget about how I get them. It's part of my listing package. I always have. And buyers are a little harder. Buyers I used to get when we did closings, when we physically went to the closings, and they had to give their driver's license for the closings. I used to get them that way, because the closing agent always knew to like slide me a copy of their driver's license, or their birth dates that were on their driver's license. That since we don't go to closings as much anymore in person, that's harder to do. But with listings, I make it part of my, you know, my package, that they fill that out, and we immediately, when we get all the listing paperwork, we plug it into my Outlook calendar, and we do it on a recurring schedule. What I think is it's cumulative. I think that's kind of how it turns from being a realtor into a human, you know, that remembering things. It's the Ford, you know, it's part of that.
Using the system will help weed out where you don't want to spend your time. You'll connect with warmer leads, clients that know you, clients that have referred you, and therefore you will be in front of people that want to do business with you, that you also want to work with, and they can make decisions more quickly if you follow all of the processes in Ninja Selling. Judy, what is your best habit?
Everything's a habit that I do. I never stop checking on details. When we are in, it doesn't matter how many people are involved, there's always something that seems to fall through the cracks, and I never want that to happen. So I am really fully involved every step along the way. So with a listing, I'm involved with the listing paperwork that gets written. I'm involved in making sure everything is, I review everything before it's submitted. I'm the one that has the conversations with the clients if they have any questions about the listing agreement. I'm involved in the staging. If we're doing the staging, I'm always there for the photography. I am always fully involved in choosing all the, I have the photographs, and my assistant and I look at all the photographs together, but I am also always, even after the listing is input into MLS, if I look at the photos and they don't look quite right, we make adjustments to them. So I think, I don't know that there's any one thing, but I think to give concierge service and just top of the line service for what people expect, especially when you get into the luxury level, the higher you go in the price range, they're expecting you to be treating them like they're your only client. And I think that's the only way. I think being fully immersed in that project is the way that if you get a phone call, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and they want an answer, I can honestly give them an answer about what's going on with their project. I don't have to say, well, I'll get back to you. And that's with my normal load of listings is somewhere in the 25 range. Right now we're down because we've sold through everything. But that I am that way, whether I've got 25 or 30 listings or 3 listings, and then juggling buyers at the same time. Buyers, it's a little harder with buyers because it's more compact, where you're working with a buyer once you go under contract to closing. And there's more details that we're responsible for on the buyer side. But yeah, I think just being fully immersed, they're hiring us because we're their professional. We need to be there for them every step of the way and understand every detail that's going on.
What do you think is the most important ninja habit for your business?
Well, I would say once I'm doing it, I think the customer service calls are the ones, the talking to the people. This kind of goes back to the birthday calls, and it ties in with the note cards. The note cards are great because people don't write note cards. People text now, people email. I always have this conversation with my buyer's agent because she's newer in the business and everybody texts now. I said, pick up the phone and call the people. There's so much more. There are innuendo in a text or an email that you may not mean. And picking up the phone and actually hearing your client's voice and them hearing you, you can solve a lot of problems and save a lot of time with texting back and forth just by picking up the phone. So I would say that that's probably my favorite thing in this business is being face-to-face or on the phone with people. The 50 live interviews, that's almost impossible for between COVID and getting so busy and keeping on top of the detail that I was explaining. So that's really hard. That is my favorite part of the business, being with people. But I would say that the note cards go hand in hand, that it'll make you stand out. If you pick up the phone and call your client, lots of other people aren't doing that, and that'll make you stand out.
Okay, so another question for you, Judy, is where do your leads come from? Are they generated by your habits, by your marketing, kind of by your systems? Just curious about where your leads come from.
So I wasn't in real estate in my former life. I was a designer. So I looked at real estate from a consumer standpoint. And what I saw was my family used the same realtor, even when my aunt wasn't in business anymore, the same realtor, everybody picked up the phone and called that guy, right? So it was a generational thing. Everybody's, parents and grandparents and the kids, and no matter if you were moving up or down or moving away, you used that realtor. So there's very little advertising that took place, right? It was all word of mouth in the area I'm from. Come down here and it's, what I find so, it's just so, just glaringly different in that we've got people from everywhere coming. They come, they buy, they stay a while, and then they may go back. So I've always been so disappointed about when you start to develop a relationship with someone. Usually it's when you're in a listing with them, or in buyers are different because they're purchasing. But my listing clients, I'm in their house, I get to know them, I get to know their families. And when real estate was taking longer to sell, it was over a protracted period of time. And they sell their house and they move away. Most of them don't move to another house here. So that repeat business, unless they go back to a place where they're sending their friends and family down, but that repeat business isn't as apparent as where I come from. So I would say that over the years that I've been in business, this is my 23rd year, I would say that I do have a lot of repeat people. I have certain strings of kind of like a family tree of people that I have sold repeated homes to over the years. And then everybody else is either a referral or through my advertising. So I'd say my referral business is probably, I'd have to go back through and check. It's one of the stats I wanted to check recently, especially with the way the world has changed this year. I think my referrals are probably about 30%, 30 to 40%, and other are repeat business. I'd probably another 25% repeat business, and the rest is advertising.
So Judy, many agents from all over the country are feeling like they are in a frenzied market. How are you reacting in Sarasota to a very frenzied market?
I felt that way for the last year. I felt like the proverbial, it was Groundhog Day. And we joked around a lot about that. I'd say before I joined Sotheby's, and maybe even a first couple of years at Sotheby's. So I'm going back, I've been with Sotheby's 14 years. So maybe about a decade ago, I think from that point on, my business evened out. And I think that has a lot to do with, I'm in a resort area, Siesta Key is my focus. So I think a lot of that had to do with our seasonal business. And I think we always have worked so hard in season that by the time off season comes, it's a breather. It's a way to work in your business, you know, and to start your, this time of year is usually my organization time, and get away a little bit to, you know, refresh time, and look at things, read all those things that I've been wanting to read that are just stacked up or saved on my computer, or work on some of my ninja stuff. So I would say that I wouldn't say there's peaks and valleys anymore, because I look at my business now on the whole of the year rather than in parts. Each is a part of the whole now. So even if I don't worry anymore if my June or July or August is slow, which it typically isn't slow until September. Maybe about the 4 weeks of September is generally my slowest time. And I'm not worried about that. I'm actually welcoming that.
So Larry, I was talking to a top agent, and he basically said to me that he felt his customer service calls, you know, when he's having an active transaction with someone, that they are so important. He said that his future is basically riding on how he interacts with customers. So, you know, delivering that impressive customer service during the transaction is just so important. And it does always seem to generate more leads. What are your thoughts on this?
What that sounds like, that ninja is really good at habit number 6, which is the client service calls, and taking great care of your clients, and they'll take great care of you. You know, that's been proven. If you're doing your client service calls, you're going to get referrals from your clients.
So Larry, I wanted to ask you this question. A lot of times agents tell me I'm not a morning person, and I can't get up early, and I can't do ninja in the morning. So Larry, what is your advice to someone that says they cannot do ninja in the morning? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, what's their definition of a morning person? You know, there's a lot of ninjas that are members of the 5 a.m. club. You know, they're up at the crack of before dawn, actually. But there are others that, you know what, they sleep in, and maybe they get up at 8 o'clock. They're not a morning person. Well, that's fine. You don't have to be up at 5 a.m. If you get up at 8 a.m., start your morning routine at 8 a.m. You know, that first hour from 8 to 9 is important. You're going to wake up at some point, hopefully. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of Aaron Hart, who's a ninja in Denver. And Aaron is an amazing singer, and he has a band. He fronts a band that is awesome. I mean, they're so good. They played Red Rocks, you know, which is kind of, you've arrived if you can play Red Rocks Amphitheater. But anyway, he always says, I get up at the crack of noon. And so Aaron Hart gets up at the crack of noon and does his ninja routine from noon to 1. That's his morning routine.
That's
so
funny.
I think you start whenever you wake up. I don't think you have to get up early. I think it's helpful if you get up before the other people and get started. But you know what, if you're just not a morning person, can you do it at night? Can you write your affirmations at night? Yes. Can you do gratitudes at night? Hey, absolutely. I do my gratitudes at night and in the morning. You know, can you look at your hot list, warm list? Can you time block the night before? Absolutely. You can do it the night before. I still think when you get up in the morning, though, you want to start your day on the right foot with you know, gratitudes and so on. So yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, one other question came up at an installation last week is, what about exercise? Do you do your Ninja 5 before you exercise, or do you exercise first? again, I think it depends on your, what will give you the greatest consistency. And I find for me, if I don't exercise first, I don't get it done, you know? And so I exercise and then I actually do my gratitudes first and then I exercise. And then I'll do my time blocking and my notes and my hot and warm and all that after the exercise. So again, you can split it up a little bit that way too, but just remember, your daily habits drive everything for that day. So start your day right.
So let's take a moment and just review together the Ninja 9. These are the 9 daily and weekly habits that you can do to greatly improve your business. If you're doing them consistently, we know that you will have a better book of business, a higher income per hour, and still have a life, which is very important. When we talk about that income per hour, remember we dealt with that in the Ninja Download Time, right, segment. But to me, that really means you are making the most of every minute and you're in front of the clients that can make decisions quickly. And you've learned who to spend your time with, because as a real estate agent, one of your biggest challenges is to recognize who to spend your time with. You only have so much time, so you need to spend it really wisely.
The other thing that we have found recently, and it's one that I think a lot of ninjas skip, is habit number 7, which is the real estate reviews. Some people say, I've just never gotten into doing that. But the people that have say that is the single greatest source of referrals for them and business. And that if you took away everything and they could only have one thing, that's the one thing. So I think that the 2 most powerful are habits 7 and 8. The real estate reviews, habit number 7, and the 50 live interviews a week, habit number 8.
So let's take a moment and pause here and talk a little bit more about real estate reviews. One of the things that our clients experience every day when they're driving home or they're walking their dog, they see signs go up and down in their neighborhood, or perhaps they hear that so-and-so has just sold their home for an amazing price, or so-and-so couldn't sell their home. So they have a very natural curiosity because their home is a big asset, right? They have a very natural curiosity of what's happening in their neighborhood. They don't have access to real-time MLS information. And in fact, if they go on Zillow or Realtor.com, they can find it pretty confusing. This is where we can offer immense value. And when you do a real estate review annually for each one of your contacts, again, they feel like it's such a great gift. Let me ask you a question. When someone gives you a gift, what do you want to do for them? You want to give them something back, right? So by giving them a real estate review, kind of a snapshot of everything that's sold in their neighborhood in the last year, with a nice kind of friendly letter, and just giving that to them, no strings attached, as a courtesy, it is such an incredible client touch point. And we know from ninjas around the country, they get a tremendous amount of referral business based on this touch point. So doing the real estate review should take you 10 minutes or less. You can easily pull properties in MLS with a radius search, or you can go into the Realtor Property Network website. And I do have a nice flyer that I will put online that you can access that really walks you through the process. You can also reach out to Ninja Selling for information, and it's also included in that 4-day installation, a really deep dive into real estate reviews. But this is pure gold. It doesn't cost much. It's postage, it's time. I can tell you that anytime we have handed this to a client, they are just so happy to know you, and so happy to get a gift from you in terms of what's happening in their neighborhood. So remember, it's not a CMA, it's simply a client touch point in which you are giving immense value. And what is one of the best things that we can do with our clients? Give them immense value. So think about incorporating real estate reviews into your daily habits. Pick 2 clients a day, get them out, or even 2 clients a week. Just start somewhere and build on the real estate reviews that you get out the door.
What I've said about real estate is you have to have thick skin. And if you're not like that, which I'm not, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I have always been the person that never said no to anyone when they needed something. So when you are going overboard to help people, I've had to tell myself that you can't want more for someone than they want for themselves. So I've had to learn that over the years, with people, with everybody, with my kids, with my family, with friends, with anyone that we come into contact with. But with, especially I've said with clients or maybe people that became former clients. First of all, we had a saying at Sotheby's that we don't work with any no mean people here. So you know, I've pretty much held to that. Now there are times where you take a listing and you actually, my favorite story is the person I liked the least when I first met him, and I thought he was a referral, and I thought, I will never want to work with this man. He is just, I didn't like him. I didn't like him. He was pompous. He was egotistical. He was a know-it-all. And over the years, that was about 12 or 13 years ago, he and his wife are like my family. They are my biggest supporters. They are my biggest cheerleaders, and they are my best source of referrals. And that was a relationship that had to be worked on over time. So that is my biggest surprise. But I would say with people that you really can't, like, I have a couple of clients that I think as this market has changed, you know, we had sellers, especially in our area and especially Siesta Key, it was not a seller's market for a long time. Sellers were really behind the eight ball for a very long time. And then all of a sudden it changed, and people haven't been exactly satisfied with list price. Now they want more than list price. So people have shown me a different side of themselves, and especially the way the world has changed in the last year. And what I have found is if somebody's, I had a saying when I first started, when my feelings used to get really hurt, I'd say I had a day to 24 hours to feel sorry for myself. And then after that 24 hours, no matter how bad it was, I just picked myself up and moved on the next day. And whatever was going to happen with that negativity, or something that went horribly wrong, or I thought I was going to get a listing and didn't get the listing, or they switched at the last minute, or something that would have crushed me. I now, when I first got in the business, a very seasoned realtor told me to write down two phrases. She said, get out the blank piece of paper. So she said, okay, on the top of one, write the word next. And she said on the other, write the words, this is normal. That was in 1999, and I still remember that every single day. So this is normal. Anything is normal in real estate. So with negativity, look, we get to choose who we work with. We get to choose what clients we keep. We can fire people. It feels pretty good to fire people sometimes. It's the old takeaway, and then they want you more. But I think the whole thing is up to us. I think most of what we do is the attitude we have, the attitude that when we put our feet on the floor in the morning. I think the attitude that we have when we start walking to the computer is the attitude we portray. And if there are people that don't fit in that if they don't fit and they continually don't fit, it might be time to hit the delete button on those clients. And there are a couple of people over the years that I have hit the delete button on, and there were people, I mean, I had 3 listings with someone, and it was almost like they were insatiable. There was nothing else I had left in me to do for them. And finally hit the delete button. And my kids actually were the impetus for that. When the phone would ring and they'd see this client's name on my phone, they'd go, oh no, not him. So I thought, that's really bad if my kids notice it before I do. So yes. So the negativity, I actually, so if it's someone that I really like, or someone that hasn't shown this side of them before, first what I do is I try to figure out what is going on in their life that is making them negative or mean or act some way that they didn't act before. You know, if it hasn't been a consistent thing. And if I feel the time is right, I'll ask a question. Is everything okay? You know, is there, do you want to talk about this? Is there, usually when people are like that, it's because they're fearful about something. And it's funny, it's like working with, well, when you first meet a buyer or a seller, if they start talking about something, some subject, no matter what it is, usually they've had a bad experience with that. Or when they're reviewing the listing agreement, when I start to get questions about certain parts of the listing agreement, when no one else asks, I know they've had a problem with something in the past. So I ask them, you know, go deeper. I have learned over the years that when people are fearful of something, that's when they give you pushback. And that's when they may be negative. So I think part of our job as professionals is to kind of dissect what people are saying. You know, we're honorary psychologists. We have to figure that out too. But if the client is worth keeping, and if the relationship is worth nurturing further down the line, then ask the questions, kind of step out of the real estate mode and maybe ask personal questions and say, is everything okay? I've always been busy. No matter what I've done, I've been busy. I'm busy with real estate. I was a single mom for a while. Well, I'm still a single mom, but I was married and divorced, going through a divorce, and real estate, starting a real estate career, and volunteering at every school that my kids were involved in, and, you know, busy. And I actually had someone one time tell me that I looked like I had fire on my back wherever I went. And what I realized was that wasn't a compliment. That was that me being so busy that it looked like I didn't have time to breathe. And what happens is something I learned to actually say to my clients, I don't ever want my clients thinking I'm too busy for them. So I make it a point when someone calls me and they say, look, I know you're really busy. And this happens every day. I know you're really busy and you don't have time. And I tell them, you're right, I am really busy, but I always have time for you. What do you need? What do you need today? I've got all the time you need. And that's, as an agent, I think what we have to do is, and we are busy. I mean, look, we can work 24 hours a day and still not have our day done. We have to learn to breathe, and we have to learn, it's like, okay, it's like the gymnastics, the gymnasts at the Olympics. You think they aren't terrified before they're walking on to what they have to do? But they're looking, you see the breathing, cool, collected, and they do their job. So I think if we're going to answer the phone, or if we're going to show up, we need to look like we've got everything in control, because if we don't have everything in control, they're not going to hire us, or they may think about it, but we may not be the one that they choose. I think being calm, collected, and professional is part of learning to breathe in between all the craziness. And I recently had someone, a few testimonials recently, that people said that she's super busy, but she makes you feel like you're her only client. And that is such a huge, and of course, I don't think I'm doing that because I got all this craziness going on around me all the time. But that's exactly how I want them to feel.
Judy, in closing, what is some of the best advice that you've been given? Can you share that with us today?
When I started at Sotheby's, he used to say, make sure your car is washed, make sure you are dressed better than everyone else is dressed. You can't be too overdressed, and have your homework done in advance when you show up. And I've always thought about those things. The difference in being a Sotheby's agent and when you walk in the door, the expectations, and let's face it, it gives us that upper edge, but the expectations on us are big, are higher than most. So why not step up to the plate with that? Why not? I mean, it's fun. It's fun being known as the best, right? I almost, at times I've said, I wish I was just starting. And I wish I just started with Ninja, because it's habits that are formed. It's like learning a bad golf swing, you know, learning to undo those things is harder, and it's time that's wasted. So what I try to do with new agents coming into the business, I try to explain to them, you know, learn from, maybe, I don't know if I call them mistakes. I call them a lot of missteps, not going straight north, you know, maybe taking some ways east and west before I got north. But Ninja is a really, really great way to get on the right track going north first, early on. And it's inexpensive. I mean, really, when you think of the value of what we get with the support, not only with Sotheby's, but with Sotheby's helping us through Ninja, it doesn't make any sense not to do it.
Thank you so much to my special guests, Larry Kendall and Judy Berger. You guys are amazing, and we so appreciate everything that you've shared with us today. You know, an interesting fact, when people are running a marathon, both winners and losers have the same goal, right? To win that marathon. But only one is going to win, and only some are going to probably have a peak performance. So they start out with the same intentions. And you know, what's different about those that win and lose? I think it's habits. I think our success is truly defined by the daily activities we choose to repeat. So I hope you've enjoyed habits, and I really appreciate your time with us today. Thank you so much. We'll see you for our next episode of Ninja Download next month.